You may be thinking, yeah, Erica, but I'm not brave like those women, or I'm not brave like you. And what I want you to know is that courage is not the absence of fear, it's the feeling the fear and still doing it anyway. It's taking the aligned action despite uncertainty, judgment, or maybe the risk of failure. And women lack courage, but it's not because you're not courageous and it's not a personal flaw. A lot of times it's rooted in cultural barriers and systemic barriers, right? Welcome to the Chingona Revolution podcast, where we will bring out your inner badass Latina, overcome self-doubt, help you gain clarity, and pave your own path, all while leading with courage. I am your host, Latina coach and speaker, Erica Cruz. Hello, hello. Welcome back to this week's episode of Chingona Revolution podcast. This is your host, Erica Cruz. And for today's podcast episode, we are going to be sharing the last webinar that I held. It had really good feedback. This webinar is all about pivoting to purpose, allowing yourself to dream again, and aligning your business or your career with your calling in 90 days. In this webinar, I spend probably the first 40 or 50 minutes going through the training. And then at the end of the training, I let you know that we have officially opened the doors for Courage Driven Latina. If you've been wanting to join this program, the doors are officially open and now is your chance. But the doors are only open until March 13th. So if this program has been calling your name, now is your chance. You can go to the link down below in the show notes or go to couragedrivenlatina.com where you can schedule a consult call if you would like to talk to me, or you can secure your spot. This program is meant to help you take action on your purpose, on your courage project in 90 days or less. But the beautiful thing is that it is a 12-month program. So you not only work on one project, but you can work on up to 4. Clients that have gone through this program have pivoted their career, negotiated their salary, they have started businesses. The results from the people that have been in this program for a year have blown us away. So go ahead and take a listen to today's episode. If this webinar resonates with you, then I invite you to join us inside of Courage Driven Latina, where you can work with me for an entire year. You'll have me in your back pocket so I can support you through your life, your business, and your career goals. All right, let's get into today's episode. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for spending your Wednesday evening with me. My name is Erica. You are going to learn a little bit more about me, but this webinar is more about you all than it is about me. All right. Welcome to Pivot to Purpose. You can all see my slides, right? That slide that says Pivot to Purpose in orange. All right. And if you're on Instagram Live, you won't be able to see my slides. But if you click on my Instagram stories, the Zoom link is there and you can join us on Zoom. All right, let's do this. So this webinar is completely free. It is sponsored by Courage Driven Latina, which is my signature group coaching program. I am going to tell you when I'm done with the teaching portion. So it's completely free. And the teaching portion is going to go about to maybe 30-35 minutes. I will let you know whenever I'm done with that part. And then I will tell you about Courage Driven Latina. I'll stay on to answer any questions, but you are welcome here. Even if you are not Latina, even if you are not a woman, this is still going to be really relevant to you, because at the core, this is all about being human and the core desire to want purpose and meaning in life when it comes to your career or when it comes to building a business. So let's kick it off. You are in the right place if you are what I call the unfulfilled 9-to-5er. So maybe on paper you are successful, but you want more. You want more fulfillment. Maybe you want higher pay. Maybe you know that you want to transition to a different industry, but self-doubt or imposter syndrome and maybe the fear of leaving stability holds you back. Or you have dreams of being an entrepreneur. So maybe you've always dreamt of working for yourself and maybe launching a business, some type of like coaching, consulting, or even selling a product. Maybe this is something that you've always desired. However, you struggle with perfectionism and you maybe struggle with overthinking. So you're like, yep, I want to do this, but what are people going to think? But what if I give up? But all these other things. And then the last little persona that I've been seeing lately is somebody that has this desire to be creative. So this is what I call the courageous creative. So maybe you dream of starting a podcast, maybe writing a book, maybe creating content, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok, anywhere. But you know that you want to make an impact through your creativity. But you struggle with consistency, maybe you struggle with self-doubt, and then you also struggle with, okay, if I'm creative and I put myself out there, then what are people going to think about me? Or like as we say in Spanish, ¿qué va a decir la gente? Which it translates to English of what are people going to say or think about me? So this is more about who you are. So you, regardless of which one you fit into, you have big dreams. So whether that is launching a business, writing a book, starting a podcast, or making a bold career move. But the thing is that you feel overwhelmed with where it is to begin. You also know that you're meant for more, but you're waiting to figure out your purpose before you take action. So, in other words, you're like, I just need to know what steps to take and then I can take them. Or I need certainty on what my next step is and then I can take it. You have so many ideas and you worry about picking the wrong path. So, that makes you feel paralyzed. You are maybe the rebel of your family or your friend group. So you have no desire to follow the people that came before you. So maybe you're like, okay, I know as much as I appreciate the women and the people who came before me, I don't want to follow their exact path. So maybe you feel like this rebel and not in a bad way, right? Just this person that is paving their own path and doing things a little bit different. And the thing is, while you have all these big dreams, your inner critic does take over. These thoughts of, what if I fail? My life isn't that bad. I should just be grateful. Or I can't be too successful or else I'll lose my community. Or the one I had just mentioned earlier, what are people going to think or say? ¿Qué va a decir la gente? So, why is it that ambitious women or ambitious people in general feel stuck and unfulfilled? Especially if you come from an underserved community, especially if maybe your parents were immigrants, or maybe you just come from a lower socioeconomic area. Why is it that we can be successful on paper, but we still feel stuck and unfulfilled? And typically the reason is because we lack purpose. So you can do all the right things, right? You can go to work, you can get a job, you can go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, do all these different things, and then get to this place where from the outside looking in, your life can look so perfect. But unless that life is aligned with your purpose and your calling and what it is that you want to do, it's never going to feel right. So, what you desire is purpose, right? It's why you all signed up for this webinar. It's why you all signed up for the Pivot to Purpose webinar. And here's specifically what you want when I say purpose. You want to be able to secure an aligned job that pays you 40% more than what you're making now and gives you more flexibility, or maybe 50% more, or 20% more. You fill in the number. Maybe you are ready to land that dream speaking engagement. Or maybe you're ready to launch your award winning podcast. You're like, okay, I know that I have something that I want to share. I know that I want to start a podcast. Maybe your purpose is literally just being confident in your life path, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Maybe it's becoming a coach like myself or like a lot of my clients and changing people's lives. I have clients who are literally fitness coaches. I have clients who are self-love coaches, health coaches, sex coaches. I mean, all of the different types of coaches. Or maybe you want to start that purpose-driven business that you've always dreamt of. Regardless of what it is, even if I didn't specifically say your example, at the end of the day, what you want is you want more peace, you want more fulfillment, and you want to know that your life work is meaningful, just like the rest of my clients. So, just like you, we've helped our clients create more purpose and fulfillment in less than 90 days. And here are just a few examples from our wins channel. And I'm going to get into the strategies in just a second, but I just wanted to show you right off the bat that this stuff is possible. So Yesenia says, I'm so happy to share that I finally launched my client's website. So Yesenia's project, or kind of her business, was website design. And then we have Claudia Ramos here, who her thing was about content creation. And here she is sharing her win about her Instagram reach as well as her TikTok. This is another client of mine who you'll learn more about what I mean by sugar daddy. We have this analogy called the sugar daddy job. It's pretty much whenever you are at a job, but you're working towards something bigger. So maybe you're working on your business on the side, or maybe you're working on a podcast on the side. You have another thing going on, and your job is there to be a job. It's there to pay you, it's there to give you health benefits, like all, kind of ensure that you are safe in this capitalistic society that we all live in. So that's what my client meant by the sugar daddy job. And she said, so she actually transitioned and she thought she was going to have to take a pay cut. But the big win was she ended up getting an awesome salary increase of $5,000. So another win is Vanessa here landed her first speaking engagement. And here she is, like pretty much just sharing her win. And then we've got Kay. I know some of you on here, Elizabeth, you know Kay. So she was able to book clients for her personal coaching, which before working with the group, she hadn't had any. And then we've got Tanya, who has been at her teacher job for the last 6 years and never felt confident until recently. So who am I on this other side? My name is Erica Cruz. I am a coach, I'm a speaker, and I'm a podcast host. And I'm going to tell you all about my story later. But for now, you should know that I've supported over 250 clients in reaching their life and business goals, specifically around purpose, around what it is that they are doing. Essentially, I help people with their life's work, whether that means a business, whether that means pivoting in their career, whatever that means. I help them do that with my proven frameworks because I have been the guinea pig that has made all the mistakes in my own life. And I'm here to help you not make those same mistakes. I also have a podcast called Chingona Revolution. I think a lot of you maybe heard about this webinar on the podcast, but if you haven't checked it out, do check it out. So here's the thing. You want to live your purpose, but here's why this is not happening. It's not happening because the problem that's occurring is that you've been taught that you either have to choose between a stable, successful career or a purpose-driven life. You don't actually believe that you can have both. You're thinking, okay, like I've got this job. Am I just going to stay at this job and hopefully this turns into my purpose at some point? Or do I want to go live the life that I want to live? And I probably won't be successful. And that is the mindset problem that is occurring. So how do I know that this is true? Well, one, I just saw a few, you kind of nod your head. So I'm like, okay, I know that we're on the right path, but this is also how this shows up. So I know that you don't believe you can have both because it'll show up this way. You will do research, but you don't actually take action. So maybe you're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to create the content? Wouldn't it be nice to start my business? Wouldn't it be nice to apply for the promotion? Wouldn't it be nice to work in the tech industry or, kind of fill in the blanks? Another one is you maybe say, I don't want to try and fail. Plus, I'm still not sure what exactly my purpose is, or I'm still not sure what it is that I would work on. So you stay where you are. Or maybe you think that your job is responsible for your purpose. So you're like, I just need to find the job that is going to align with my purpose and it's just going to be fulfilling. But the problem with this specific thing is that even if you do find the dream job, that's not really safe. And I think we've seen this with the tech industry and all of the different layoffs or a lot of the nonprofits that have been affected through the government funding being at risk and just so many changes, right? So as much as a job can feel safe, and especially if your parents are immigrants and you've been taught like, okay, yeah, go get a job and work for someone else, it's actually not safe because it's not in your control whatsoever. And I'll get into this whenever I talk about my story, but I'll keep going for now. Okay, another thing I hear is, oh, I need it to be perfect. So almost like waiting for perfection before starting. And then another way that I know is that you can't stop thinking about this passion project or maybe a business idea, but you keep it to yourself. So maybe you'll write it in your journal, maybe you'll dream about it, maybe you'll think about it, but nothing actually happens. So people outside of you can't see this, I guess, purpose come to life. And last but not least, you think that in order to live your purpose, you have to walk away from everything that you've built. So maybe you've worked really hard to get to the job that you're at, and you don't want to throw that away to follow something that may or may not work out. And you're believing that, okay, if I want to go follow my purpose, I have to become this like starving artist, right? We've all heard of the starving artist, where a lot of people that are in LA or New York and they're trying to make it in the world of acting or some type of creative field, and a lot of people end up living in their cars and things like that. So a lot of us have this preconceived notion that if you're going to follow your purpose, you have to live the starving artist lifestyle, and that's not necessarily true. So what is the solution? The solution is that you actually can have it all. But your purpose is not something that your job is going to hand you. It's something that you create, and you create it through courage. Okay, I'm going to say that again. You can have it all, but your purpose isn't something that your job is going to hand to you, especially because jobs may not be here tomorrow. Your ideal job could be here today, it could not be here tomorrow. But you get to create your purpose through being courageous. And here's what happens when you create your purpose through courage. Whenever you really embody the skill of courage, you're going to apply for the job, even if you're not 100% qualified. And if you don't get the job, you're not going to take it personally. You're going to still continue to apply for similar jobs. You are going to start the business regardless of what other people might think about you. You will go from feeling like you're stuck and unfulfilled to feeling fulfilled, knowing that you are doing your life's work. Even if you're not already 100% at your purpose, taking steps towards it and being courageous is already going to allow you to feel more fulfilled. You'll start the podcast or the Instagram page, and you'll actually post on it, right? I can't tell you how many times people start an Instagram page and then never post anything on it, which, it makes sense. There's a lot of fear that comes with being creative like that. But whenever you really are creating your purpose with courage, you will stick with it. You'll ask for the raise at work, right? So I know we're talking about pivoting to purpose. This can mean anything for you. It can mean setting better boundaries at your current job. It could be asking for the raise at your current job. It could be saying F you to the current job you have and getting a different job. It could be just changing the way you're thinking about your current job and working on something else that brings you purpose and brings you life. And at the end of the day, you will change your life whenever you master the skill of courage. And the thing is that your purpose can't wait. It really isn't something that you're like, oh, I'll get to it later, or I'll get to it in my next lifetime, right? This is our one life. And a lot of times people are passively waiting. And I don't know what we're waiting for, but I was in your shoes as well, which you're going to get into my story in just a second. But I was waiting for something outside of me to change, or my purpose to suddenly come to me so that I can do it. But remember, your purpose is created through courage, and it really can't wait, especially with all of the changes that we have going on in government and all of the uncertainties that are happening with our community. It's up to you to live your purpose now. And here is how I was able to do it. So I mentioned that I was in your shoes not long ago. So here I am going to college, even though I absolutely hated school, but I ended up getting into an okay school. And then I graduated. By the time I graduated, I had an offer for a tech job. So I ended up moving away to work in Silicon Valley. I was just telling one of you at the beginning of the webinar that I used to live in Sunnyvale. So I was living in Sunnyvale, working in the tech industry. And y'all, this was the type of job that my immigrant mom was so proud of. She would talk up my job because I got paid well. I got to travel. Here I am in Sydney, Australia. I mean, I got to go to Mexico, Spain, because I speak Spanish as well. And it really was a good job. And I appreciate it so much because I learned so many skills. But I knew every day that I woke up and every day that I was jet lagged, doing late night spreadsheets and work in a different country, not even enjoying the country I was in. Like, oh my gosh, I'll never forget. I got this photo in Australia. So I'm sitting here, right? And I have this on paper perfect job, and I'm in a conference room and I'm looking out and I can see the water from the conference room and I'm stuck in the conference room. And I was able to get this one photo as a memory of me being in Australia. But I was like, is this really the dream? If I am here in Australia and I can't go anywhere, right? It was, yeah, it's cool that you get to travel, but I was there not enjoying my life. I was literally there working the job that I thought I should work. And again, these late nights doing all this work, and then something happened in 2020 and we were all sent home. So the traveling stopped. Um, a lot of people were laid off. And I remember in this must have been like summer of 2020. And here I am wearing a mask. And I was spending a lot of time alone in my Sunnyvale apartment. And we had closed the office, so nobody could go into the office. We were all working remotely. And I remember thinking, if I die, because, and I don't mean to get all morbid on you all, right? But a lot of healthy people I knew passed away during the pandemic. And it really became this rude awakening where I was just kind of following the paths of life. And during the pandemic, when I had all of this isolated time with myself, I had to ask myself the hard question of, am I proud of the life that I'm living right now? If this was it, would I be happy? And my answer was no. And suddenly this urgency came about, and I remember saying to myself, I want my life to be worth something. And not that my life was worthless. Oh my gosh, no, right? I mean, I had it all from the outside looking in. It was a perfect life. But what I really wanted is I wanted more meaning. I wanted more impact. I wanted to be able to give back to my community. And by working for a tech company that was a great company and I loved my coworkers, it was distracting me from what I knew I needed to do. So, this isn't a message to tell you that you need to go and quit your job and do different things. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. But for me in this moment, my purpose was to create something else. And it took the pandemic for me to really get to this place to say, this life of mine, if it ends here, I would not be proud of myself. And there's actually research that people have done when people are on hospice care, so on their final days, and they did this research and they asked people, what's your biggest regret in life? And people did not regret the failures they had or the heartbreaks or anything like the rejections. Do you want to know what they regretted? They regretted what they didn't give themselves a chance to do. So they regretted not applying for the job, not going on the trip, not starting the business. They regretted letting their fear take over. So during the pandemic, it was like this little cocoon. I went into this cocoon, and a few months later, Purpose Driven Latina was born. So I was already creating content, and I knew I have this deep desire to live my purpose, and I can't be the only one who has this deep desire. And that is where Purpose Driven Latina was born, which now is known as Courage Driven Latina. But then I started to run this coaching business. Here are some of my amazing clients at one of our recent meetups. I ended up doing the tech job and Courage Driven Latina, formerly known as Purpose Driven Latina, for about 6 months. I ended up leaving my job, not just impulsively. I literally created a plan. I transitioned out. And then a few weeks later, I ended up on the front page of the New York Times because I left my job. So now here I am running a 7-figure business, having supported over 250 clients, a podcast host. I mean, I've been featured in Telemundo and CNN and LA Times, and I've gotten to speak at some massive stages, worked with some amazing corporations. And even though, my path was leaving this tech job, what I want you to know of the story is that the courage it took to start creating content, to start the business, to walk away from the job. And this is all possible for you as well, because you might be thinking, okay, Erica, that's your story. Good for you, but you have an audience and you have all these different things. You might be thinking, will it actually work for me though? And here is how I've helped my clients live their purpose within 90 days. And this is what happens when you build courage. So Liz went from struggling to set boundaries to being a booked out boundary coach. Nancy walked away from a law career to a fulfilling new role. And you'll actually learn a little bit more about her in a second. Olivia went from being a poetry lover to a published author. Anai went from being a podcast listener to a podcast host. And they have changed their lives by building the skill of courage and living their purpose in 90 days. It doesn't have to take forever. And you may be thinking, yeah, Erica, but I'm not brave like those women, or I'm not brave like you. And what I want you to know is that courage is not the absence of fear, it's the feeling the fear and still doing it anyway. It's taking the aligned action despite uncertainty, judgment, or maybe the risk of failure. And women lack courage, but it's not because you're not courageous, and it's not a personal flaw. A lot of times it's rooted in cultural barriers and systemic barriers, right? I mean, I know growing up, I would hear the phrase, calladita te ves más bonita, which translates to women should be seen and not heard. So if we've been culturally conditioned to go with the flow and to be passive and to not be outspoken, we've essentially repressed our courage. But I want to remind you that your presence on this earth is an act of courage. Being a child of immigrants, if you are, being a woman, if you are, being a human being is literally an act of courage. And even though we've been raised with cultural expectations to play it safe and avoid risk taking, you can change that. And especially if you have immigrant parents, especially if your parents are just literally from the previous generation where people would stick to the same job forever and then just get a retirement, those lines of thinking are very different than the way we think today. And it makes sense that it's hard for us to take risks, especially if your parents immigrated or sacrificed a ton in order for you to have a stable career, a stable next step. And I want you to know that courage is created through coaching. It's not like, oh my gosh, this person's brave or this person's not brave. Courage is something that can be built. It is a skill that can be learned. Just like going to the gym can make you stronger, practicing courage makes you more brave. And the thing is that courage isn't just about feeling good in this moment. Courage is about doing the thing that you know is leading you to your purpose, even if it is scary. So this is not about being fearless. It's about building the skill of courage. So let's quickly recap because I've thrown so much at you and I did a lot of talking. You want to live your purpose and you want to feel fulfilled. What is stopping you is that you think you need to choose between purpose and success, and you think that your job is responsible for your purpose. The solution is that you can have it all, but purpose isn't something that your job is going to give you. It's something that you create through being courageous. And how? By learning the skill of courage. Okay, so now let's get into how to do this. So let's get into the strategies. Okay, how to pivot to purpose. Let's go over the three main strategies that are necessary. The first one is the purpose clarity guide. This one, it seems so obvious, but if you don't know where you're going, you can't take the steps towards it. So this guide is going to support you in making a decision that you feel good about. And unless we make a decision, nothing happens. Whenever we stay in indecision, whenever we don't want to make a decision, we're actually making the decision to not take steps forward. So if you're like, I don't know exactly what my purpose is. I don't know if I should focus on this or on that. So I'm just going to wait until I know. What not making that decision is keeping you stuck where you are, right? So at the beginning, we talked about why individuals can feel stuck and unfulfilled. And a lot of times it's because there is no clarity on where it is that you're going regarding your purpose. So this guide will support you in making a decision that you feel good about. And the purpose clarity guide will help you figure out what actions to take right now so that you can align your career or your business with your calling in 90 days. Let's look at my example of my story that I just shared with you all. My purpose wasn't, oh yeah, I'm going to go help other women find their purpose. I didn't know that yet. at the beginning, it was just creating content. So we help you do that just like we have with a few of our clients. So here's what happens before the purpose clarity guide, before you feel overwhelmed with too many ideas, so you don't end up taking any action. You also feel stuck doing research and consuming information. You keep thinking that you need maybe another degree or a certificate so that you can find your purpose. You're like, oh yeah, I want to start a business, but I'm going to go get a degree first. Or, oh man, I need a certificate for this, and that. And maybe you find yourself comparing yourself to other people who have clarity and are taking action. And then the thing is that when you do take a step, you're second guessing. Like you haven't actually made a decision and stuck with it. So you're like back and forth. You're like, oh, this or that, or this or that. And maybe you invest in a bunch of different things and you never actually take action because you're going in a bunch of different places. After implementing the purpose clarity guide, you make a decision without overthinking. You will be clear on your purpose as well as what those next actions are. And the thing is that you're going to feel at peace just by knowing that you're working towards your bigger purpose, even if you're not there yet. And you're also going to be able to focus on your own goals so you don't worry about what other people are doing. When you have clarity on your purpose, you're not comparing yourself to other people anymore, at least not to the extent to where it's crippling and it allows you and it stops you from taking action. It's no longer paralyzing. And then most importantly, you trust yourself with decisions. So here's an example from one of my clients, Miriam. Miriam was actually just on the podcast, not yesterday, but last week, her episode was released. So, who is Miriam? She is a life coach for women. And when Miriam came to me as a client, she knew that she wanted to help women have access to resources that she wished she had. That's all she knew. She was like, I hope I can help women with the help I wish I had. And she would think about this daily. She said that when she'd wake up, this would be on her mind and it would be on her heart, but she didn't know what to do or how to start. So it was almost frustrating, like this desire to do something, but she didn't know how to do it and she lacked the clarity. And after implementing the Purpose Clarity Guide, she learned that the way she could do this is by being a life coach for women. And today she's hosted multiple in-person workshops. She had a self-love workshop in February. She had a planning for 2025 workshop. And now she's running a group coaching program. And it did not take forever for her to come to this clarity. I was going to say certainty, to this clarity. The second is job alignment. Here's the thing, friends. We live in a capitalistic society, whether we like it or not, right? If you own a phone, you're contributing to capitalism. If you are working for somebody, you are contributing to capitalism. This isn't to shame anybody. It's simply to state the fact that that's the type of society that we live in. So what I mean by this is that we do need a job or some form of income. We do need some form of resources so that we can survive in this society that we live in. So it's important to find job alignment. And the way that we do this is we have to figure out the role of your current job or the job that you desire. So this could mean pivoting to a different role that maybe aligns with your values. I have a client who was working at a company that was not aligned with her values, and it was really not, it wasn't contributing to her happiness or to her fulfillment. So for her, it was all about transitioning out of her job into a more aligned role. It can also mean being intentional with your current job while you work on your purpose on the side, like I did. So I stayed at my tech job, worked on my purpose, which for me was a business, and then I eventually left the job. And then I have other clients who are ready to move their way up at the current job that they're at. So this can mean many different things, but it's important for us to know that your job is playing a specific role in your life. It's important for you to have job alignment. And remember, your job is not responsible for your purpose, your courage is. So what we're doing here with job alignment is we're just giving your job a job in your life. That's pretty much what we're doing. We're like, what's the purpose of this job right now? And the thing is that before having job alignment, you are dreading going to work, you're feeling unaligned with your values, you're maybe browsing other jobs, you're losing sleep, feeling anxious, and maybe even applying to promotions that you don't even want. Or maybe you're not applying to the promotions you do want. whenever we lack alignment, things are just not flowing. There's just friction. There's friction instead of flow. And then after having job alignment, you wake up feeling energized for the work you do. You're going to feel deeply aligned with your purpose and your values, and you're going to you're going to be thriving in a role that supports your growth and fulfillment. Or right? So one option is that you're going to be in this role that's supporting your growth, or you're going to know that your job is nothing more than a stepping stone to get you to your purpose. Either way, you are going to be sleeping peacefully and knowing that you are on the right path. You're also going to feel confident at ease, trusting that you're exactly where you're meant to be right now. Whether this means you're applying to other industries or working on a business, all those different things. All right, let's talk about how job alignment helped my client, Nancy. So, Nancy is a Latina lawyer. She's a money guru and a Latina in tech. That's what LIT stands for. So, she actually spent 10 years as an attorney, achieving incredible success as one of the 2% of Latinas in the field of being a lawyer. But deep down, she knew she had outgrown this job. She knew she wanted more. So, using the job alignment strategy, she was able to transition to a different role strategically rather than on impulse. So she said, I was holding to an identity that no longer aligned with who I was. And once I worked on trusting myself, I could make the decision to pivot without fear. And the thing is that Nancy didn't just change her career, she ended up changing her life. She ended up getting a job at the same company that she worked at, and she got paid more from being a lawyer to non-lawyer work and still making more money and something that's aligned. And the reason she was able to do this is because we use the job alignment strategy. All right. The third strategy is soul-led business plan. So what is this? You might be thinking, okay, but what if I don't want to start a business? So stick with me because I promise it's still going to be relevant to you. So it is a business plan for your soul-led business or your purpose-driven business. And the reason that it's a plan is because we want you to know what to focus on and what not to waste your time on. It's essentially going to give you the structure that you need to make this idea a reality. And this includes an obstacle contingency plan. So any possible obstacles that you could come across, we support you in thinking about that ahead of time. So you already have a solution to any possible obstacle, as well as an accountability plan. So it has built-in accountability. So the thing is, even if you never plan to sell anything, this plan can still help you. For example, if you are wanting to launch a podcast or you want to create content or you want to work on some type of passion project, this will still support you. So why does a soul-led business plan work? It works because it's a step-by-step plan. It's connected to your bigger purpose. So you're less likely to give up whenever something is mission-driven and connected to your bigger purpose. You are going to have that plan for obstacles. So, okay, if this happens, then I'm going to do this. So you're less likely to give up. You also have built-in accountability with other people who are working on similar projects or similar businesses. And that built-in accountability makes the world of a difference. Okay, so let's do the before and after, and then I have 3 examples from soul-led business plans because I think they're really relevant to you all. So before a soul-led business plan, you're going to be convinced that you need a certification before you can start. You maybe don't believe that you can actually become an entrepreneur or a podcast host or whatever it is that you want to create. And maybe you try to do too many things at once and then you get overwhelmed and you stop taking action. You then maybe are questioning every step that you take, and then you're also looking for validation from other people instead of trusting yourself. After you implement a soul-led business plan, you are going to take consistent aligned action instead of starting and stopping. Your business idea is tied to a bigger purpose, or maybe your podcast idea, right? It's tied to a bigger purpose, and it makes it more exciting to bring it to life. The other thing is that you can trust that you are already enough. No extra certification is needed to start, because with a soul-led business plan, it's all about starting the first phase of this business to even make sure it's something that you want to do. Can you imagine if you went to go get a certification or a degree and then you got started on your business and you were like, "Oh shit, I literally don't want to do this." Like that would suck. That would suck. That's why it is that we are big on no extra certification, no extra degrees yet. Like let's just test it first. And that's what this plan allows you to do. The other thing is that you're going to have a clear, structured plan so you know exactly where to focus your energy. You are busy people. You are working jobs. Some of you have kids. Some of you have other things you need to do. You can't do everything all the time. And this really funnels down your focus so that you know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So here are some examples. You all saw one of Kay's wins. So Kay is a kickboxing coach. When I met Kay, she had a desire to take on one-on-one clients for kickboxing, but she had a lot of worries. She was like, somebody may not like me and ask for a refund. They might think my price is too high. They may not have any interest at all in my service. But after implementing the soul-led business plan, she had the structure and the solution to every potential obstacle. Remember, I mentioned the obstacle contingency plan? That was a big focus of her business plan. So when she launched a couple of weeks later, she actually sold out of sessions and she had to start selling small group sessions because it wasn't scalable to just do one-on-one anymore. So the reason I put Kay on here is because Kay had not started a business before. She was just working at the kickboxing gym. And she went from not having a business to being fully booked. This is so possible. And she had the thought of, oh, I need to go get another certification. Oh, I need all these different things. So she was in alignment with a lot of the common fears that I hear from people. And then we've got Diana. So Diana is a bookkeeper and an accountant. And when I met Diana, she had already started her business. So she had one client, but she had no real plan for growth. So after implementing the soul-led business plan, she had the structure and her business was connected to her bigger purpose, which was helping first-gen entrepreneurs build generational wealth. Like that's a big purpose, right? That's so much more connected to her mission and what it is that she wants to do. So today, Diana's business has grown by 200%. And she's showing up consistently on social media and online for her business. And it is growing. Diana is working a full-time job, but her business is growing. And her plan is to leave her full-time job and do her business full-time. And then we've got Rebecca. Rebecca implemented the soul-led business plan, and she is the CEO of Axiom of Purpose. So when I met Rebecca, she already had a six-figure marketing agency. So she had a well-running business. However, she felt stuck in her life and in her business, and she had lost motivation and was doing her best to regain her confidence. After implementing the soul-led business plan, she was able to process and heal where it was that she was stuck. And the reason I included Rebecca in here is because this business plan is going to work whether you've already started or whether you've never ran a business before with these three different people, right? Three different stages. Well, this business plan was amazing for Rebecca because she ended up doubling her sales. So we've been working together for a little over a year because she rejoined the program, but in the first 6 months of last year, she made double the amount of sales that she made the whole year before. She also lost weight. She grew her confidence. She wrote a bunch of poetry. She had a $70,000 week. I want to say she ended up having like a $500,000 year. And now she's working on creating a second business. So let's recap, because again, I threw a lot at you. You want to live your purpose. You want to feel fulfilled. And remember, even if you don't want to start a business, you want to do something that's connected to your purpose, whether it's creating content or transitioning to a different role within your job or to a different industry. So you think that you need to choose between purpose and success, and you think that maybe your job is what's going to give you purpose, or it's responsible for your purpose. So here's the thing. You can have it all, but your purpose isn't something that your job is going to give you. And even if Your job felt very purposeful. As we've seen, jobs aren't certain. Jobs are not the safe route the way that maybe our parents told us they would be. I mean, my brother works for the federal government and he's like, our jobs are on the line. And the reason they went to go work for the federal government was because it was supposed to be the safest job, right? So, regardless of even if it's you looking for a different job, I still want you to know that you get to create your purpose through being courageous regardless of a job. Like, let's say we all lost our jobs tomorrow, does that mean you're just purposeless? No, like you're still a human being that's worthy and has purpose, and still you still want meaning in your life. So how is it that we do this? We do this by building the skill of courage, which is something that can be learned. The other thing is that there's strategies, and the first strategy is a purpose clarity guide, right? We want clarity on your purpose. The second one is aligning your job. Okay, job alignment. What is the role of your current job? What is the role of the job that you're going to get? And then a soul led business plan. Remember, this is even going to work for you if you're like, I never want to be an entrepreneur ever. That's totally fine. This is still going to work for you. So you might be thinking, can I actually do this? And you can. You can. So, the best way to pivot to purpose and implement these three strategies is with a courage project. So, remember, courage is the key to living your purpose. So, inside of my group program, Courage Driven Latina, we help you work on a courage project. So, I'm going to get more into that right now. I told you all at the beginning that I was going to be doing the training portion. So we have concluded the training portion, and now I'm going to share with you about Courage Driven Latina. This is open for you if you're not Latina. Kay is not Latina. She's, I want to say, Filipino American. We also have Joy in the program, who's African American. This was the name I came up with 4 years ago when I created the program. But stick with me because you don't even have to be, honestly, as long as you're a woman, it's probably really going to resonate with you. So, what is Courage Driven Latina? If you've been following me, you've probably heard me talk about it, but let me just break it down for you really quick. And I will be answering questions as well. I'll be sticking around to answer questions, but it is a transformational group coaching program to help you execute your Courage project in 90 days. So, we put your purpose, your goals into this project, and we help you get that done in 90 days. You will change your life with the Courage project, and I'm going to tell you how. When you join, you get immediate access to the program. And I'm going to go over everything that's included. I'm going to go over the price. I'm going to go over the payment options. Like, we're going to go through it all. But you get weekly live coaching. There's also bonus workshops. And then, as I mentioned just a second ago, you do not have to be Latina to join this. The whole program's in English. And let's get into that. So, what is a Courage project? I just told you you would take action on a Courage project in 90 days. So, the Courage Project is how you create your purpose. It is a step by step plan that helps you reach your goals in 90 days. The project has to excite you, it has to scare the heck out of you, right? It has to be courageous, and it has to make the world a better place because when we look at the definition of purpose, your purpose is your gift to the world. And when you are doing something that's purpose driven, you're less likely to give up. And the reason that a Courage project works is because it gives you structures to follow. It includes all of the strategies I talked about today. You always know what you need to do next, and then it makes your goals a reality in 90 days. What are some examples of projects? A lot of my clients have launched podcasts. You can also pivot your career to a new industry. A lot of clients at the moment are working on that. They're doing job transitions into like environmentally friendly jobs, things like that. A lot of people have started businesses. You just saw Rebecca, Diana, and Kay who worked on business projects. You can build the confidence to go on a date. I've had clients who've worked on dating projects. You can grow your self-love, build a community, create content, negotiate your salary. It can really be anything because your purpose can be anything. But whatever it is, we help you with the plan and the structure. So, what usually would take something like 12 months only takes 12 weeks or 90 days with a Courage project. So, I would love to invite you. I'm going to tell you more about this, but I would love to invite you to sign up or schedule a call at couragedrivenlatina.com. If you've been eyeing this program and you're like, yep, I know I want to do it, I encourage you to sign up now. If you're like, I still have questions, I'm not sure, schedule a call. I do recommend that you schedule a call today, preferably while we're still on the call, just because time times fill up pretty quickly. So if you would like to get a spot, especially because we do have a bonus, which I'm going to tell you about in just a second, schedule a call with me. And then we can talk about, okay, is this the right program for you? And what it is that you'd work on. So let's talk a little bit about what the first 30 days are inside of Courage Driven Latina. So you're going to go from having just an idea, maybe not even knowing exactly what the idea is, to taking action on your purpose with a courage project. You're going to go from doubting yourself to building unshakable confidence and learning the tools to deal with doubt, because doubt is a normal part of life. People doubt themselves. I've only met like two people who say they don't have self-doubt, and I'm like, I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if you're human if you don't have self-doubt ever. You're going to go from fearing failure to having a plan for any obstacle, right? Remember, I was talking about the obstacle contingency plan. You're going to be worried about what your distant family members or maybe coworkers might think, to having such a solid support system and being so clear on your purpose that you don't even think about those people anymore. You're going to go from putting things off and procrastinating to changing your life with a plan in 90 days. So let me just take you inside of what is in this program so you know what you get. This is not a new program that like I just created. This program's been around for 4.5 years with over 250 people that have gone through it. It's pretty well fleshed out. So the first part of the program is all about how we practice courage. Remember, I told you that courage is a skill that can be learned. So here we're going to learn the skill of courage and how to build it. And we're also going to learn the tools to help you overcome fear so that you don't let fear win. It's all about helping you overcome self-doubt. Milestone 1 is a step-by-step plan to help you picking your courage project that will lead to your purpose. We find clarity using a guided visualization. And then in here is also the purpose clarity guide that I had mentioned during the webinar. Milestone 2 is a step-by-step video to help you complete your courage project plan. So we have a whole step-by-step plan, and then you submit it and I review it within 72 hours and I give you feedback. So there's a lot of support in the program. And this is not just a course that you're like thrown into and it's just like, good luck, watch the videos, bye. You get immediate access to all of these videos, but there's also a lot more. So here is the courage project plan. I won't go into the whole thing, but then there is milestone 3, and this is videos for your purpose. So it could be career, it could be entrepreneurship, it could be content, it could be confidence. So whatever it is that you're working on towards your purpose with your courage project, we have videos for each one. So like how to build confidence no matter what anyone says to you, social media workshop if you wanted to create content. I know a lot of you said you did. As well as a TikTok course, which I don't sell anymore, but it's included in Courage Driven Latina. And the thing is that a lot of clients actually expressed that they had interest in starting a podcast, that they wanted a podcast. And honestly, y'all, my podcast has completely transformed my life and my business. So we ended up adding a podcast course to Courage Driven Latina, and there's already been so much success with it. So here it is, some of the people that have been in the program and have launched their podcast. So we have 4 amazing women. So then there's also videos all about your career or CEO. So oh wait, there's more. Milestone 4 is if you are worried that you're not going to have time or that you're going to get stuck, we have resources for that. If you're like, I'm busy, I don't have time for working on my purpose, I don't have time for my courage project. Milestone 4 is all about staying consistent with your project. Milestone 5 is whenever you're done with your first project, we help you pick your next one, because your purpose isn't something that you get to and then you're done. Your purpose is going to keep evolving and growing and changing, just like mine did. There's also a bunch of bonus workshops. So, wealth workshop, sexuality and pleasure, growing your business, planning for a new year or quarter, and how to manifest your life's purpose. A ton of resources that are on demand. So, here are some of the results. 98% of the individuals inside of Courage Driven Latina have more confidence after Courage Driven Latina. 100% say they have more clarity. So, your purpose, you will know what your purpose is within the first few weeks of joining this program. 100% say that being in Courage Driven Latina positively shifted the way that they think about themselves. And then 97.5% say that their community and support system improved since joining this program. So let's get into what it is that you get and what the investment is for this. Again, I invite you to schedule a call. If you're like, I want to talk to you, Erica, I want to have a consult call with you, schedule a call because times do book up. And then once you schedule a call, come back to the chat and let me know that you scheduled one. If you already know you want to be in this program, then secure your spot because we do have a bonus because you are here on the webinar right now. So not only do you get everything I just showed you, you also get weekly live coaching calls for an entire year. You also get one business call a month. We actually just had ours earlier today. It was a really good business call. So if you're working on a business, you have specific business coaching time, access to all of the videos I just showed you, access to in-person events. We do like in-person pop-ups and they are always so fun for people to meet in person. There's also daily coaching inside of Slack. So if you have a coaching question or you need support with something and maybe it's Wednesday and we just had our call on Tuesday and you're like, damn it, I'm not going to see them again until Tuesday. You can ask for coaching in Slack anytime. There's also worksheets to help you step by step with all of the different videos. As I mentioned, you get that immediate access. We also have a private podcast. So this private podcast is where we upload all of the call recordings. So if you're traveling or if you can't make one of the calls, no worries because we upload everything onto the private podcast. So this is valued at over $8,000, especially because it's a year-long program. But the investment is not $8,000. We have changed it to $2,222 if you paid in full or 5 payments of 444. So it's the same investment whether you do payments or pay in full. And you can sign up at couragedrivenlatina.com. Again, you can sign up there or you can book a call with me. What you're going to do is you're going to go to couragedrivenlatina.com. You're going to see this enroll now button. And then you're going to be able to choose if you want to make a payment of one time or a 5-time payment with monthly payments. And then you'll see this screen. You'll put in your name, your email address, your payment information. And then we say, yay, you're in. And then you'll get an email that gets you into the actual course. If you have questions, go ahead and pop them into the chat right now. So with over 250 alums, the number one complaint that we got was how sad they were that it was over. And that's why we changed the program from 12 weeks to 12 months, which I already spilled the beans on this one. I already told you get access for a whole year. So now that we have had this program be a year for a year, we've been able to see life-changing results. I mean, people have completely reinvented themselves. People that have been in this program for a year have worked on not just one goal, but 4 or 5. I mean, some people have launched a podcast, negotiated their salary at work, started to date, and then started to take on clients. They've done all of that because you'd be surprised how much you can get done in 12 months with the right guidance and the right community and the right accountability and the structure that you need to be successful. And the best part is that whenever they took vacations for a few weeks, they weren't missing half the program because it wasn't 12 weeks anymore, right? It was 12 months. So remember, everything that you get is that you get the weekly live coaching calls, you get the business coaching call every month, you get access to all of those videos that I showed you just a moment ago, in-person events, you get daily Slack support, you get the Courage Driven Latina worksheets, as well as immediate access to the program as of today. You also get the private podcast where all of the calls are uploaded. So again, the investment is $2,222 if paid in full or 5 payments of 444. The calls are every Tuesday from 5 to 6:30 p.m. and every call is recorded and uploaded onto the private podcast. And then the business coaching calls, which is the first Wednesday of every month, is from 11 to 12. And that's also recorded and uploaded into the private portal. So I actually have an extra bonus, which we kind of threw in last minute. If you join this program and if you pay in full, you get 1 week of one-on-one support from me through something called Voxer. Voxer is a messaging tool that you can voice note and you can chat back and forth. And this I've sold in the past for $2,000 just for this because it's one-on-one support for an entire week. So if you know that you want to join and you can pay in full, I do recommend that you do that because this bonus is literally worth pretty much the price of the whole program. Being able to have one-on-one support, and I no longer offer one-on-one coaching. This is the only way to get it. All right, who has questions? Go ahead and start putting them in the chat. I'm going to keep going because I have like some FAQs. I have more information. So here are some FAQs that I got from people just over the last couple of rounds, or just like that people have DM'd me. So one person said, I'm not sure that I can commit for 12 months. So which I never thought was going to be a question, but I figured I should address it. So the beauty of the 12 months is that you get support for 12 months. And the reason we made it 12 months is that we want people to take vacations. We want people to be able to take time off if they're sick. It's not about doing work for 12 months. It's about having support for 12 months. My dog's awake now. She's going to want me to let her out. Okay, so what if you miss a meeting? If you miss a meeting, everything's recorded and uploaded into the private podcast, so you don't actually really miss anything because you can watch it on demand. I actually had somebody 2 rounds ago who couldn't make the meeting times, so she would just listen to the recordings of our meetings. She wasn't there live, and she got such good results. She joined again. So it's definitely possible to still be successful, even if you can't make all the meetings. Does this work for me if I don't want to start a business? Yes, you can still even use the soul-led business plan for any project that you might want to work on. And remember, when it comes to a courage project, you can work on whatever courage project you want because it's all about your purpose. So Courage Driven Latina is for you if you want to show up at work knowing that you bring value, you want to advocate for yourself, and you want to be able to set boundaries, or you know that you want to transition to a more aligned role in industry. So pretty much if you want to work on your career, but maybe you're overworking, you're keeping your head down, you're burning out, and you're thinking about quitting without a plan. It would be a perfect fit for you. Or maybe you've always dreamt about starting or growing a business that changes lives, but you've been telling yourself you can't do it until you've done more research or have another degree or maybe a certification. Content. So maybe you wanted to create content, maybe an Instagram page, a book, a podcast, and you want to inspire and change and educate your community. However, your perfectionism and maybe overthinking is stopping you from putting yourself out there and you can't take the first step. Courage Driven Latina is also for you if you want to build this unshakable confidence and self-trust, regardless of what anyone thinks or says about you. And at the end of the day, you really just want to live your purpose. Okay, the painful bonus is that 1 week of one-on-one Voxer support, or support through this app called Voxer. And the way that this works is you can chat or you can voice note and you can get coaching from me, whether it's purpose coaching, business coaching, life coaching, anything that you need guidance on, you pretty much have me in your back pocket for an entire week. This is what some of our in-person events look like. We really have a solid community of women all over the country. I mean, we have people from Miami, people all from all over Texas. We have women in Seattle. We have women in Michigan. We have women in all over LA, actually, in the Bay Area. So you get access to this amazing community of women. And some of our alums include moms, dog moms, non-moms, stay-at-home moms, nonprofit workers, lawyers, tech workers, aspiring business owners, advanced business owners, people not interested in business, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, people who didn't go to college or didn't like college. And we also have people who are getting their PhDs. We also have social media influencers. And then we have people who do not do social media. All of this to say that you will fit in this group because you're all working towards your purpose. And even if your purpose isn't the same, even if your background isn't the same, you're all working towards a similar goal, which is a purpose driven life, career, or business. So remember, you get weekly live coaching calls, one business coaching call per month. You also get immediate access to the Courage Driven Latina videos. You get access to in-person events, you get Slack support, you get the Courage Driven Latina worksheets, you get immediate access, and you get a private podcast. Marisol asks, what's the average number of participants in a cohort? I think we currently have about 30 something people in the program. And typically on average for the calls, we will have about 15 people on the main call. And then today for the business coaching call, there was a total of 5. So it's a very intimate group, but you still have access to more people. And then Nancy asked, would your weekly calls be hosted by you or a support team? So I'm on the weekly calls unless I am traveling. So for example, yesterday evening, I was flying back from Hawaii. So my support coach took that call, but I take most of the calls. So I think that was the only call she's taken this year so far. And so it's pretty much been 2 months. Can you give some examples of what people do for their courage projects? Yes, definitely. So people have done for their courage projects, posting on Instagram in order to tell my story and change lives, or maybe starting a podcast to help grow my business. Other people have done courage projects on coaching businesses, candle businesses, essential oils businesses. I've had clients in the program who've worked on courage projects that are entrepreneurial related. So this could be service based or product based. Again, as I was mentioning, the candle business, that one has done really well. The essential oils business as well. I've had an esthetician in the program, and her project was all about growing her esthetician business. A lot of people work on content. So maybe creating content to grow your business, or the other thing that people will work on is on their career. So like building confidence at my current job. There's been people who have had anxiety around like, what if I'm fired? What if I'm laid off? So it's all about finding safety and security. Other people have transitioned to different jobs. Other people have, like, for example, Nancy, I don't know if you heard the whole webinar, but we're sending the replay later. So I still recommend that if you just type the word purpose inside of the comments, you'll get the link so that you can sign up. But Nancy was a lawyer for 10 years, and she had, where her courage project was leaving being a lawyer. And she ended up leaving being a lawyer and got a different job and still got a pay raise. And the job was so much more aligned with what it is that she was, who it is that she was becoming, if that makes sense. What if I don't want to post on social media? You don't have to. You pick what your courage project is. I support you with it, but it has to be in alignment with your purpose and who you are. This program is not about making you an influencer if you have no desire to post on social media. This program is all about helping you live your authentic self and your purpose. And it's all about helping you figure out what that is. You do not have to post on social media. You do not have to start a business. You do not have to change your career. You get to do what's in alignment for you. What if I don't have a lot of time? I work full time and I'm a mom. A lot of people who are in this program work full time or are running businesses full time, and also are parents. I'm also a busy person myself. I'm all about how can we help you get to the most efficient way of reaching your goals. And the way we do that is through a courage project. So between the weekly calls and working on your courage project, for those of you on Instagram, I know you can hear my cat. I don't know if the rest of you can hear her because I've got the mic here, but she is calling me for attention. So it's not going to require a lot of time. And that's why we have a courage project formula, because it allows you to focus on what matters to be the most effective rather than doing everything and not getting much done. What if I don't know what my courage project is? We have in the curriculum, there's a step-by-step video to help you figure out what your courage project is. Do programs like these really work? This is a valid question. And to be fair, I've joined programs that promised a bunch of different things and they did not deliver. And it was really heartbreaking because as a coach, and I know that my clients have had so much transformation when I've been in programs that don't work, it's really heartbreaking because I'm like, damn, like it's giving the coaching industry just like a bad rep. But what I will tell you is that Courage Driven Latina has been around for almost 5 years. I mean, like the people that I talked about during this webinar are real clients with real results. And one of the things that I also meant to include a slide in here, totally forgot, but I'm happy to connect you with any of the women that I included in this, or even other people in the program, if you want to talk to them about their experience in the program. Because as much as I can tell you about the program, I understand that hearing it from somebody who's gone through it might be beneficial. So if you're doubting if this will really work, I encourage you to talk to one of them. But what I will say is that with over 250 clients through this program, we've never had a refund request. We've had somebody pause because they had health stuff and she rejoined, and she was just on the podcast on Tuesday. So she's absolutely killing it now. But they do this program has been tested over and over and over. What if you're unable to make the investment now? Are there different cohorts? So we open the doors for this program like I mean, maybe late summer might be the next time that we open it. But one of the things I would have you consider is that some jobs have a self-development fund. And what we are able to do is we're able to give you this. If you're working a job right now, we have a sheet that we can give you that talks about the outcome and the deliverables from the program. And hopefully, the thing is, a lot of people have gotten their jobs to pay for this program. So rather than paying for like a college course, they've paid for coaching. And what we're able to do is we can give you this document that is relevant to your job, like what it is that your job is and how this program will help you do your job better, so that we can include this as your self-development fund. So I don't know if you're currently working somewhere, Diana, that maybe has that, but that might be another option for you as well. And then there's also the payment options for 5 months. So you don't have to pay in full, even though there's like a bonus for it. So there's also that. All right. So Courage Driven Latina is for you if you are successful on paper, but you feel like something's missing. If you identify as the black sheep in your family or your friend group, if you're tired of overthinking and you're ready to take the brave action, even if you don't know what that brave action is yet. If you, I literally just said that without even knowing that was next, even if you don't know exactly what it is. If you have too many interests and you're not sure which one to focus on, or maybe you know what it is that you want to do, but you're not sure how to get there. Maybe you struggle with overthinking and you have a hard time taking action. Maybe you've had life changes. Maybe you're not even sure like who you are anymore, and you're seeking this like self-discovery and reconnecting with your purpose and your new direction. Maybe you've outgrown your friend group and you are looking for a community that really gets where you're going. Maybe they support you, they inspire you, and they just get it. So sign up for the program at couragedrivenlatina.com. Do I have to know my purpose before I start? No, not at all. That's what we help you do inside of the program. Another question I got is, how do I justify this to my partner or my husband? So just as your college classes can be a tax write-off, this is an educational expense that can also be a tax write-off. But, another thing to do is also just ask for the support, right? You don't have to understand what it is that I want to do with this coaching program, but you do want to know, but I do need your support, right? Just like your partner I have a friend who her husband builds race cars. She's like, I don't know a thing about race cars, but I know that this is something that's important to him and I support him. So just like that, I would encourage you to talk to your partner about how this is important to you. And then the other thing, actually, because I've had the honor of speaking to some of my clients' partners, and they have thanked me for the program because they no longer have these expectations of their partner, because now they have a safe space and a support system to help them outside of the relationship. So partners have talked about, I've heard her complain less. She's a lot nicer to me. She seems more excited about what she's doing. She seems happier. So that is another way of justifying this to your partner. How would we be able to receive the form that you mentioned to show an employer a request for PD funds or like self-development funds? So what I'm going to invite you all to do, if you're interested in that, if you can please email hi@theericacruz.com. I'm going to put it inside of the chat. And if you can just let them know, hey, can you please share the employment reimbursement letter with me and give us just like a quick description of what your role is. So that way we can customize it so that it is relevant to your job. We don't want to just give them a general one. And then is it a course or is it live coaching? So both. You get immediate access to the course and you also get live coaching. And the coaching happens every week on Tuesdays in the evening, as well as it happens once a month on Wednesdays for business coaching. And then it happens every single day inside of Slack. There's a lot of support. You even get feedback on your Courage Project plans. Whenever you submit a Courage Project plan, I review it and I give you feedback. So you get a video in response to it. So it's not just a course, it's not just live coaching, it's a whole ecosystem of support. I've had people say, oh, I want to join, but I'm already in another program. And I want you to know that this program is only going to help you with your success in any other program that you're in. I'm currently in a business program, but I'm also in another program for speaking, and I'm also in another program for money coaching and for investing. So as long as you have a purpose for each investment, then it should not be a problem. But let's say that you are in specifically a business program. Courage Driven Latina will help because you're be having clarity on your purpose and your direction, and having a courage project is only going to help you with anything else that it is that you're doing. Some people have also mentioned, I feel like I might be too old. I want to say we have like 4 grandmothers inside of the program, and I mentioned a few of them during this webinar because they've been our biggest success stories. I actually find that when you have more life experience, you take the program more seriously, and you get the results. You get results because you've lived life. You don't have time to play around anymore. You already know what it's like if you keep delaying things. So like Rebecca, she doesn't look like a damn grandma, but because she looks amazing, but she's a grandmother, and she's the one that had a 70K week and is starting a second business. And also Miriam, also a grandmother, doesn't look like one, but these women are some wise, beautiful women that have had amazing success in the program. All right, looks like everybody's questions were answered. You can always send me a DM. Go to couragedrivenlatina.com. You can secure your spot there. And then there's also the pay in full bonus that gives you 1 week of Voxer private coaching. All right. Thank you everybody for spending an hour and a half with me. Look at us pretty much being on time. I will see you all on Instagram, and then I will talk to a bunch of you tomorrow and early next week. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you on Instagram. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Make sure to visit theericacruz.com. That's Erica with a K, where you can subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. You can help this podcast grow by supporting me with an Apple Podcast rate and review. If you took anything away from this episode, I invite you to take a screenshot and share it on social media so that your favorite badass Latinas can also check it out. Be sure to tag me at the Erica Cruz. That's Erica with a K, because you know I want to see it. If you're ready to join the revolution and be a part of the Courage Driven Latina community, visit couragedrivenlatina.com to get more information and join the waitlist. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.